Alright, hello fun and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Road Warrior mod, which is being made by user Road Warrior 9. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is an absolutely amazing new mobile player home for you to enjoy, and I absolutely love this thing. Now, we've actually taken a look at a couple of different mobile player homes in the past, everything from RVs and trucks to APCs and even boats. And I gotta say, I think this one's one of my favorite, as it does give you a lot of great room to sort of spread out in, and has a load of different features, and of course, a lot of great scenic locales you can take this thing to. Though a little bit more on that in a moment. Let's start by talking about what all we do get here, beginning with how you get it. And first and foremost, our prerequisites. You are going to need most of the Fallout 4 DLC. You're going to need Automatron, Wasteland Workshop, Bar Harbor, and Nuka World, as this is using a lot of assets from those different things, and plus being a mobile home, you know, you kind of need Far Harbor and Nuka World to actually take this thing to those places. Good times there. Now, as for how you actually do acquire our lovely new campground here, it's quite simple. You're going to have to do a very short quest. It took me like 5 minutes to do earlier, and you'll begin that quest by right outside of Vault 111, going just behind there to that shack that, you know, everyone loots at the beginning of the game, and you'll find a letter that will begin a quest that eventually will spawn our Road Warrior campground here. And it is a pretty nice little place just right off the bat without you needing to do much of anything, and to me is kind of split into a couple of different zones. The first, and probably most important for the whole moving aspect, is the APC, as it is the command heart of the whole thing, and that terminal in there is how you move this thing around the world. You then have the sort of main outdoor area, which is where you've got all your storage, and where you can spawn into this area a number of different workbenches for crafting. You then have the main trailer itself, which besides having the cool defenses on the outside, is a full workshop zone on the interior. Now, a fun thing and kind of weird when you first get this thing, it is of course just a open wicked shipping trailer. So inside it is pitch black before you build any lighting. It actually confused me when I first went inside. I was like, wait, I can see my compass, but I can't see anything. And then I turned on my flashlight and realized, oh, it just needs lights. Good times, good times. But yeah, we've got a lot of fun stuff out here, but when you do first spawn it in, it is a little bit basic, besides, you know, not having the lights on the interior. As outside, you know, we got a lovely little fire, some good little decorations out here with a radio, some chairs, and of course, a lot of great storage over here with a steamer trunk, duffel bag, ammo box, tool chest. Sadly, you can't use these things for storage. I thought it would have been cool to do so, but, you know, oh well, you still at least got all these things. Now, in this sort of area in here is where you're going to be able to spawn in the various workbenches, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And another cool thing is this. One of my favorites. Kind of pointless for me, though, because I have a mod that will scrap items for me, but this is a scrapper. So if you do have a ton of junk lying around in your inventory when you get back to your camp, you can chuck it all into here, and, you know, then, whoops, wrong thing, just press this button, and it scraps all the stuff in there. Good times there. So yeah, a lovely little feature. I quite like it. Though make sure you only put junk in there. It's, you know, it's made for scrapping junk. Now, on the interior of the APC, you get a lot of static decoration items. The only thing you can really interact with in here is the radio. Everything else is just here for show, except for something that is normally right here, but I of course did loot it for testing purposes. There is a holotape that normally sits right there when you first get this that you will want to grab, as it is the main thing that you use to configure your campground here with the Road Warrior. And then finally, of course, we have this terminal, which is one of two ways for you to actually move this camp around the world. Though again, we'll talk a little bit more about this in a bit with where all you can go, but as you can see, we can go between the 3 major worlds. But let us come out here with the configuration holotape and, yeah, talk about the workbenches and things of that variety. So let's just pop that straight into our Pip-Boy. And here we go. We've got a load of different options for things you can do. Now, the first one is the alternate way of moving the camp. Just like with the one in the APC, you can select the locales from here. Personally, though, I find myself just going straight into the APC most often because I like moving it while I'm here. But, of course, if you don't want to go travel to your camp, you can move it wirelessly from the Pip-Boy here. We then also have the ability to configure our workbenches, which is quite handy. So right now at the beginning, you got nothing, but we can deploy, say, the armor workbench here. And then, yay, when we come out into the world, look at that, the armor workbench is here, which is very cool. So you can have them on or off depending on your need, and I do rather like that. Now, we also do have the ability to spawn turrets on this thing. By default, there is nothing up top for the defenses. It does offer you some cool views, but it's really there for you to manually defend. But if we do go back into the holotape, we can actually spawn turrets there. And it's actually pretty interesting, because you can see we can go from nothing all the way up to Mark 7 turrets. And these are all based on your level. So from the get-go, level 1, you'll be able to spawn the Mark 1 turrets into the world. As you can see there, they are now protecting our lovely little encampment. Now, at level 16 is when you'll be able to spawn the Mark 3s, level 28 for the Mark 5s, and a level 40 for the Mark 7s. So it is going to depend on how skilled you are in the game to have these things, which I quite like that. You don't get too powerful too quickly. Now then, moving from there, we have the ability to actually set up a flag, and it of course is the, normal major factions in the game, as well as a few other things. So if we pop on the Minuteman flag there, we now have that in the world just back there. Lovely. I do quite like that, so you can switch up those flags to whatever faction you do desire. And then, moving from there, we have the radio station. Like I said, there are a couple of different radio stations around this thing, and you can actually manually change the station from here, so you can, have whatever selected. Very neat. And then we have a very important function here. Register power armor. One of the fun things about having a mobile player home, and this one in particular, is that you take all your stuff with you to all the different places these things can travel. The problem is anything you place out here, like say with a camping mod or something like that, or if you just, like how I've done, just have a power armor suit sitting here, it will not travel with you. You will leave it behind when you move to a new area. But for power armor, you can register it with the camp. And you actually have 3 different slots to register power armor to. So let's go ahead and register this one to slot 1. We won't actually notice it move until we move, but you can see now that we have power armor stored in slot 1. And the cool thing is all 3 slots are right here in this section. Slot 1's just about right here, slot 2 about right here, and slot 3 about right here. So you can take with you 3 suits of power armor around the world as you travel with this thing. And that is just so freaking cool. And then finally here on the holotape, we've got utilities, where we can, update the power armor, radio chest rotation stuff, because sometimes when you move, the rotation can get wonky. You can lock or unlock containers if you don't want, NPCs looting your things. And you can unregister terminal event, which I think is a debugging thing. I haven't had to use this yet, and I don't quite remember what it was on the mod page, honestly, now. But yes, just some extra little utilities there. So a lot of great options with this, and it's just it's just wonderful. So before we do go and take this thing out into the world, I did forget to actually head on in here so you guys can see the full size of the trailer. So let's go take a look at that real quick. And now that I am remembering that, oh yeah, flashlight. So you actually do get a pretty decent amount of size area to work with here. Definitely going to be kind of a tiny home build, but, you know, it's quite nice that, you know, you can build your own room to your liking in here, and outside you have the configuration holotape to sort of tweak it to your liking there. And it also has the cutest, tiniest little workshop ever right here. It's just the best. And as an extra fun little bit, anything you put into the workshop storage here will actually be accessible to your various workbenches on the outside. You can, if you desire, build your workbenches in here as well, but of course with the tiny area, you're probably not going to want to put too many in here, or any at all, because it just takes up a lot of space when you got the ability to have them outside, and they have their inventories linked, which is beautiful. So let's actually go and move this thing into another part of the world and talk about how many areas you can go to. Now, one thing to talk about while we're still loading back into the world is that you have to find the various locations first. You do not get them by default, which is a little bit annoying. So you can see here on my current save file, I've got nothing in Far Harbor, I've got nothing in Nuka World, and I've only currently discovered one other area in the Commonwealth. So you are going to have to go out into the world, and while you're traveling, you'll just come upon them with, you know, relative ease. And in total, I'm actually going to pop up the maps that are on the mod page here. You have 16 different locales in the Commonwealth. You also get 4 different campgrounds in Far Harbor, and 2 in Nuka World, which is pretty cool. Now, every time you do go to move it, it is going to cost you a little bit of money. If you are going far, you know, like ferry to Far Harbor, it's going to cost you cash. Otherwise, it's just a click the thing and go. Now, I chose the lake over there, the only one I've got, and now, when I leave this terminal, it's going to load. We are going to travel with our APC trailer, and since we did register our power armor with the holotape, that as well, and we're going to be on a nice scenic lake locale for us to now enjoy our home therewith, which is very, very cool. And generally, yeah, it doesn't take too long to load into the world. You can see we are back in the APC. Our power armor is indeed in slot number 1, and again, we could have a slot 2 and 3 right there, and we now have a beautiful new view for our mobile home. And again, 22 different locations in the world, 16 in the Commonwealth, 4 in Far Harbor, and 2 in Nuka World. 22 places to travel, very fun, good storage, a fun scrapping tool, and the ability to, you know, have your various workbenches wherever, and a trailer to build inside. This is a wonderful little home that for some reason I keep having trouble going up and down these steps with. And yeah, just a great place. So if you'd like to check out this mod for yourself, which I'd certainly recommend you go and do, you can have a look at the link in the description as per usual. But that, my friends, is going to be it for this one today. Hopefully you all have enjoyed and you do come back for the next. But until that time, thank you for watching as always. Well, have a good one.